Michael Strahan is a noted media personality, known for his hosting duties on Fox NFL Sunday and on Good Morning America. Recently, Strahan put his background to good use while speaking out on a controversial story. Strahan also shared something another well-known name had said about the story. Michael Strahan recently weighed in on a controversial story on Good Morning America. Strahan spent years on the gridiron, playing for the New York Giants. He would eventually put his football skills to work as a football analyst on Fox NFL Sunday, establishing himself as a media personality. Strahan is also well known for his co-hosting duties on Good Morning America. That said, Strahan's background in football often comes up on the show. Michael Strahan. One topic of discussion was Shedeur Sanders, a football player who previously played for Jackson State Tigers and Colorado Buffaloes. He had previously dropped to the 5th round of the 2025 NFL Draft, which saw the Cleveland Browns pick him up at No. 144 overall. Meanwhile, as noted by the New York Post, Shedeur's brother Shiloh also signed with the Buccaneers as an undrafted free agent. Both are the sons of Pro Football Hall of Fame cornerback Deion Sanders. Strahan recently talked about Shedeur dropping to the 5th round on Good Morning America. "I don't think this kid definitely should have dropped to the 5th round." Strahan also mentioned another football legend and shared what they had to say. "If there's a good quarterback, people want a good quarterback. You've watched so many quarterbacks who have no amount of production like he had. And it's about numbers when it comes to quarterbacks." Strahan then name-dropped former professional football quarterback Tom Brady and shared his thoughts on the story. As he shared, "I spent time with Tom Brady this past weekend and we watched the draft, and as Tom said, he's an example. It doesn't matter where you're picked." Earlier in the episode, it was shared that Shedeur was the subject of a prank phone call in which it initially seemed like he was being invited onto a team. However, "But you're going to have to wait a little longer, man. Sorry about that." In a clip seen, a stunned Sanders asked, "What does that mean?" Shedeur Sanders recently received an apology over a prank call concerning the draft. Jax Ulbrich, the son of Falcons coach Jeff Ulbrich, later apologized for the incident on Instagram. As he wrote, "On Friday night, I made a tremendous mistake. Shedeur, what I did was completely inexcusable, embarrassing, and shameful. I'm so sorry I took away from your moment. It was selfish and childish. I could never imagine getting ready to celebrate one of the greatest moments of your life, and I made a terrible mistake and messed with that moment. Thank you for accepting my call earlier today. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me." Good Morning America shared a clip of Strahan discussing Shedeur's story on Instagram. At the time, many fans shared their own reactions to his comments. "So glad Michael used his platform to say what we all know. Loved that he spoke up. I could tell he wanted to say more, but casually went to the next headline. Well said, Michael. He will do great things, and he handled the situation very well. He even downplayed the prank call. He will make them regret that wait when he gets on that field. Period." Michael Strahan championed Shedeur Sanders' NFL potential, echoes Tom Brady's draft wisdom amidst prank controversy. Michael Strahan, the charismatic media personality whose insights resonate with audiences across both the sports and morning television landscapes, recently lent his considerable expertise and platform to address the intriguing case of NFL draftee Shedeur Sanders. Known for his formidable years as a defensive end for the New York Giants and his current roles as a sharp analyst on Fox NFL Sunday and a genial co-host on Good Morning America, Strahan drew upon his deep understanding of the game to offer a compelling perspective on Sanders' draft position and the surrounding narrative. Strahan's transition from a celebrated NFL player to a respected media figure has allowed him to bridge the gap between the gridiron and the broader public consciousness. His insights carry weight, informed by years of first-hand experience and a keen understanding of the nuances of professional football. It is this background that made his recent commentary on Shedeur Sanders particularly noteworthy. The spotlight on Shedeur Sanders intensified leading up to the 2025 NFL Draft. The talented quarterback, who previously showcased his skills with the Jackson State Tigers and the Colorado Buffaloes under the guidance of his father, the legendary Pro Football Hall of Fame cornerback Deion Sanders ultimately saw his name called in the 5th round of the draft. The Cleveland Browns secured his talents with the 144th another layer to the Sanders family's NFL journey. Shedur's brother, Shiloh Sanders, also signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as an undrafted free agent, further highlighting the athletic pedigree of the Sanders brothers. During a recent segment on Good Morning America, Michael Strahan didn't shy away from expressing his surprise and conviction regarding Shedeur Sanders' draft slot. "I don't think this kid definitely should have dropped to the 5th round," Strahan stated emphatically, his tone conveying a clear belief in Sanders' abilities and potential. His assertion challenged the prevailing narrative that might have contributed to Sanders' later-than-expected selection. Expanding on his assessment, Strahan delved into the fundamental value of a skilled quarterback in the NFL. "If there's a good quarterback, people want a good quarterback. You've watched so many quarterbacks who have no amount of production like he had. And it's about numbers when it comes to quarterbacks," Strahan elaborated. His emphasis on Sanders' on-field production and the inherent demand for quality quarterbacks in the league underscored his belief that Sanders' talent warranted a higher draft position. Strahan's point highlights the objective metrics and statistical achievements that often serve as key indicators of a quarterback's potential success at the professional level. Adding further weight to his argument, Strahan invoked the name of one of the most iconic figures in NFL history, Tom Brady. "I spent time with Tom Brady this past weekend and we watched the draft, and as Tom said, he's an example. It doesn't matter where you're picked," Strahan revealed. By citing Brady's experience, Strahan invoked a powerful anecdote that resonates deeply within the football world. Brady, a 7-time Super Bowl champion and widely considered the greatest quarterback of all time, was famously a 6th-round draft pick. His unparalleled success serves as a potent reminder that draft position is not always a definitive predictor of future achievement. Strahan's sharing of Brady's sentiment reinforces the idea that Sanders' journey is just beginning, and his potential is not limited by his 5th-round selection. The backdrop to Strahan's commentary was a somewhat bizarre and unfortunate incident involving Shedeur Sanders, a prank phone call that occurred during the emotionally charged draft period. As reported by various outlets, Sanders was the target of a cruel prank in which he was led to believe he was being invited to join a team. The initial excitement quickly turned to disappointment when the caller delivered the disheartening punchline, "But you're going to have to wait a little longer, man. Sorry about that." A clip of Sanders' stunned reaction, his bewildered query of "What does that mean?" capturing the raw emotional impact of the prank, circulated widely. The perpetrator of this ill-conceived prank was later identified as Jax Ulbrich, the son of Atlanta Falcons coach Jeff Ulbrich. In the aftermath of the incident and the ensuing public outcry, the younger Ulbrich issued a public apology via Instagram. "On Friday night, I made a tremendous mistake. Shedeur, what I did was completely inexcusable, embarrassing, and shameful," Ulbrich wrote, acknowledging the gravity of his actions. His apology continued with a direct address to Sanders and an expression of remorse for his insensitivity. "I'm so sorry I took away from your moment. It was selfish and childish. I could never imagine getting ready to celebrate one of the greatest moments of your life, and I made a terrible mistake and messed with that moment. Thank you for accepting my call earlier today. I hope you can find it in your heart to forgive me," Ulbrich stated, indicating that he had personally reached out to Sanders to apologize. Good Morning America, recognizing the newsworthiness of both Sanders' draft position and the prank incident, shared a clip of Michael Strahan's analysis on their Instagram platform. This sparked a flurry of reactions from fans, many of whom echoed Strahan's sentiments regarding Sanders' talent and potential. One enthusiastic commenter exclaimed, "So glad Michael used his platform to say what we all know." This sentiment reflects a belief among some fans that Sanders was indeed undervalued in the draft, and that Strahan's validation was a welcome affirmation. Another astute observer noted Strahan's apparent restraint, commenting, "Loved that he spoke up. I could tell he wanted to say more but casually went to the next headline." This suggests that Strahan may have held even stronger opinions about Sanders' draft position but perhaps tempered his remarks for the sake of the broadcast. A particularly supportive fan offered a hopeful and defiant outlook for Sanders' future, writing, "Well said, Michael. He will do great things and he handled the situation very well." He even downplayed the prank call.